Welcome back to GrumbleCraft. Behind me, I have made this hot air balloon, which has inside it a fully automatically recharging player launcher, and I can't stop using it. It's so much fun. And not only is it fun, but it's easily the most complicated redstone and technical build I've ever done. Also, it's a freaking item duper. I duped items by accident in survival Minecraft. Use the chapters in this video to skip right there if you want to skip over the lengthy technical explanations. Okay.
That's really funny.
Okay, everything duplicated.
What?
Look in this chest. That's all my stuff, including those blocks of gold.
Robot made a duper.
It duped.
Oh my god.
But before I show you the crazy way that it works, let me take you back to how this all started. I was watching Etho's video. He made a wind charge player launcher, and well, this is the rest.
So if we look at the machine from the outside here, it is actually incredibly simple. And then the wind charger itself, I'll just fly around it if you want to copy it. You can actually use any design you want for this if you think you have one you prefer. Or if you want to use one that has actual breezes in it for free wind charges, go for it.
And Etho, that's exactly what I did. I was able to do this, but only after I solved some insanely complicated redstone problems. And we're going to get into those right here. I'm going to talk about how I got multiple breezes into this system and controlling their wind charges to all end up over one block from which I could launch them at the player. Have fun. See you later.
Am I gonna die? Oh my god!
I'm going to show you how I automatically reset it after every use with the exact same number of wind charges using these dropper counters. We're going to talk about the various teleportation methods I considered for this build and why I chose the one I did. Since I wanted it to automatically reload after I blast away, it's chunk loaded, but just for when it's running. After all the breeze wind charges are collected, it turns itself off automatically. I'm using Voxy. It's amazing, and it wouldn't be possible to have the same experience with the launcher without Voxy, so check that out. And if you want to see a video on Voxy from me, stay tuned and subscribe because I will be making that very soon. Here's a quick intro on wind charges. In the Tricky Trials update, they added the breeze, which you can find here in the trial chambers. It is only found here. And when you activate these in survival mode, by looking at the base of this, you actually get breezes. And they fire these wind charges at you. And when you kill them, they drop breeze rods. Let me see if I can do that. See? Dropped a breeze rod. These breeze rods can be crafted into more wind charges. These are going to make a great player launcher. See? We got his wind charge added to my wind charge. Uh-oh. Now this is where I die. This is where I die. Okay. Welcome to my creative world where I started this journey after being inspired by Etho about 2 months ago. All right. Let's check this first design out. So as you can see, I have a whole bunch that we're going to go through, and I'll kind of cover the key points that I learned as I went through all of these different designs and prototypes. So for this first one, the main points are that you need to have some sort of visibility between a breeze and an iron golem. Then what you can do is you can slow the wind charge down just a tiny bit, affect its velocity using the cobweb there, which does affect the wind charge because it does start in the same block as the head of the breeze. You can observe when it's coming through and pulse a piston to basically stop it. The moving piston head will actually stop these types of projectiles. So then, when you're done, you can use slime blocks attached to a sticky piston to actually launch these into a player launcher. This is just a copy of what Etho had. It actually doesn't have the redstone on top to disable the powdered snow right before launch, but that's basically what it is. So that's what that'll do. All right, moving right along. Basically, I found Ray's works. Now, Ray has this really cool design where you get a minecart and get it seated between two stairs. It doesn't spread out. And then you can basically position a mob between two blocks perfectly. So what you are able to do then is have it affect the wind charge with the cobweb, but then also immediately And the way Ray does it is pretty smart, and I like it, and I use it for a lot of these designs, is using skulk sensors. And if you power a calibrated skulk sensor with a signal level of 3, that is the same signal that is produced by throwing wind charges. So then this signal will basically pulse the piston as well as a timer system. So this is our first ever counter system, so we don't get infinite wind charges and, you know, lag the server. I only want, let's say, 20. You can put that in there. This comparator gets inverted here, which then lifts up this block, allows them to get seen, and then we start collecting that many wind charges. And then these will appear right here, and when I'm ready, I believe the launch system will, yep, when it's done, it pushed him over the slime block. So then it's actually primed and ready now. And this launcher actually is up above, which is kind of cool. So when the player is here and, you know, bouncing on the water with powdered snow should be here to keep them flying, just like in the Ether design. You're flying, bouncing on the bubbly water. The wind charges, when they explode onto the trapdoor, it still works. It still works. Now, the issue I had here is that signaling blocks, like when you're up here and you want to use redstone here, you need some sort of signal, and so you have to find a way to send a signal wirelessly, or else you'll crash right into this block. And in fact, you could still clip that block a little bit if you're not careful. So up here I have a little system that you can also use to add items. It will drop them down into this hopper, and so you can actually control the system from up above where the launch platform is. And that's something that I tried to keep in most of my designs. All right, here's the next one. Here, I try to get multiple breezes to collect wind charges twice as fast. These breezes firing here, it was just really complicated. The timings, they just don't quite work. So here, like, one of them is being caught, but then the other isn't, because I just have one skulk sensor coming from this guy. So I'm trying to catch both of them and trying to adjust timings for just one. The problem is that it's not really consistent when one will start relative to the other. So you do need multiple skulk sensors listening for each breeze, and I didn't learn that until much later. Let's leave this and move on to a slightly different design. Now, this design incorporates new breeze modules from Hectorus 919, and I actually found this watching a video from Squibble, and Squibble makes where is it? There's this kind of teleportation system we'll get to later, but in that video they reference these modules, and so I kind of thought maybe I could use these instead to get a better layout for multiple breezes shooting wind charges onto a single location for the launcher. And so what I ended up doing is moving the launcher down as well. I believe it was at this point that I started thinking I would design this for a hot air balloon, just because I thought hot air balloons are like awful transportation. They're really slow, but I thought it'd be great for my transportation system of like super speedy. Just ironic. So these work by removing the glass that's stuck in the breeze, and then it allows them to see the iron golem, and then a series of pistons will push them as it goes through cobwebs to stop them, and they end up right here and get shot across using water. Now the water slows it down quite a bit, so it's a little easier to catch. Now the other one I can also run at the same time, and there's 2 different redstone lines that are triggering these. So I'm actually able to independently do this reliably, and I can get multiple sets of wind charges up here. Wind charges can also activate redstone buttons and switches, so be careful. I shouldn't have that switch there because it accidentally pulled that down. It was along this time that I started experimenting with just how water works and wind charges. I gotta tell you, this has gotta be something that we could use in a minigame. It is way too complicated to use in the layout that I wanted. This design, it will often have the wind charges blow up in these pistons. Occasionally they will collide because, yeah, like right there, because the iron golem isn't perfectly aligned, or I think I need to replace this with a solid block. I found this Hectorus design to be a little finicky starting at this point. But as you can see, these wind charges, they can come up. They do hilarious things. You can get them to go really slow. You can move this water around. And because the water is moving, flowing diagonally, it's going to actually redirect them almost in 90 degrees. We could get rid of this slime block and they'll redirect even more. This was a lot of fun, but I don't actually think this would be the right thing for my launcher. But I mean, look at the potential for a mini game. That could be fun. Okay, this next system, it's just crazy. It has dual use, so the wind charges that are no longer being used to charge up the system, well, they can actually make their way through here because we can pull back the catching piston. We retract it, which allows it to go into this containment system for wind charges to collide with arrows from a player, which get bounced here. We'll turn the system on, but if you watch what happens here, what we will do is we will take our wind charges, we'll make the system ready again, it will collect it, and when it's done collecting, it should actually send wind charges all the way through. Okay, that's the last one, so then it should stop collecting, because out back here, we read this dropper, and when it is empty, we go ahead and power, I don't know, we power one of the blocks that controls the pistons that are blocking these guys. But what I want to do here is do this. Can I? Huh? Oh, hey, you. That's what's going on here. You, scoot. There we go. Okay. Again, these Hectorus modules can be a little finicky with the iron golem positioning. All right, but as you can see here, these wind charges, they come right in here. If I shoot an arrow down here, let's see, are they gonna collide? Nope. Hold on. What if I shoot it on that side? There we go. Look at this. And so these wind charges, they go, oh, wait, they're miss? What the heck? Oh, there it goes again. There we go. It's not, oh, see, look, I was able to hit that target block just by looking in that direction. Ah, that's a little annoying. Come on. What the heck happened to my timing? All right, as you can see, this is why I didn't stick with this design. But as a means of triggering a teleportation to this Ender Pearl stasis chamber, just by looking in a direction, it was pretty cool. So I did like this idea. So the idea was you launch, you go somewhere, and then you basically just look up in the sky in a certain angle. You wait long enough for one of these arrows to collide, which they don't always. And then you would be able to teleport back. What the heck is going on now? Yeah, basically we're looking at string, we're observing it, sending wallstone down. That signal bounces, and it should be timed so that you're always hitting it. And then all these pistons are making sure that if the arrow does collide with the wind charge, it's pushed back onto that block. But I gotta tell you, this thing doesn't work very consistently. Pretty cool to see it when it actually is hitting the wind charges though. Now, the other reason that this is a crazy system is I came up with a conveyor belt. This is something I saw from Cubic Meter, learning about the science of how to move wind charges around, but you can actually have these conveyor belt systems that will push wind charges around. This one uses a double piston extender to get it to this next section, so it goes diagonally the other way. And I was trying to get this to feed into here to also make this like a triple breeze wind charge system. It's a little complicated, and I think I gave up at that point. I looked at Squibble's new design, and this is the newest version. And the problems with the old one where the arrow was inconsistently hitting the wind charge, well, they got fixed here. Now, basically what you do is you come here, you crawl over, you put your arrow here, use this little system to center it with these two pistons. Now it will bounce on that slime block, and it will collide with wind charges that sit right there. Now, what I love about this is It was just so compact. The breeze shoot straight up. They get redirected. They get pushed right over here. And if you do tick rate, let's do 2 to really slow it down. I have slowed down the tick rate. You can see as my arrow comes up, it shoots off the wind charge in whichever direction I'm looking. There's this, sits right there. There's a hitbox. The hitbox of my arrow comes up and actually is big enough to clip through the block a little bit. And bam, it sends it off in that direction. Okay, so if I look straight up and use free cam, hopefully it hits that target block straight up. Yeah, look at that. See? That's so cool. Again, this is not my design. This is from Squibble, but I did incorporate it into a much larger system. So here it is again. Now, this one is pretty cool. I actually got the design of the final counter system implemented here. These copper bulbs show the state of if it's ready to launch and if it's resetting. And from those, you can kind of see like there's a system to use these observers to push all of the completed items. Oh, I can't believe I just did that. This is where I first came up with the dual purpose. So when it's not doing teleportation, it can actually charge. And it will charge for as many items as there are in this dropper. And done. It will actually switch modes now. And now shoots up. And when it's shooting up, it will actually be putting the wind charges right here. And then you can get your arrow. Let's see. I think I broke the water up there, but it still works. Not supposed to do this when it's moving, but I think I got it just fine. Look. Boom, hit. And then we're actually able to send a signal through wallstone down here and count how many times in a row you've looked up. So what I did is I said, you look up 4 times in a row, then we'll do this, and eventually it will move items, 4 items, unstackable items, into a dropper. When the signal strength is strong enough, it will trip the Ender Pearl stasis chamber. As a quick demonstration of how this system works with the arrow, you go down here, you use this stasis chamber like that, and then, I don't know, you can just go anywhere you want, really. TP, self, 2000, 2000, first one wasn't 2000. There I am. There's that stuff way over there. Let's just look straight up. In free cam, you can see me. I'm just sitting here like this, and I'm gone. I teleported back here. Look at that. So cool. What I will say is I did find this teleportation system to also be a bit finicky, but I thought it was so cool that you could have a dual use system. What the heck? Why are these getting shot out like that? What the heck is happening here? Well, that's a bug if I've ever seen one. Okay. Are these real? Can I get hit? Oops. No clip. There. They should be able to hit me. Whoa. All right. I'm not sure what's going on there. Let's just ignore that one. At this point, I decided, great, let's keep moving forward with this hybrid system where I'm going to have the breeze in there, mostly do teleportation. But when the system needs to be recharged, it'll actually switch and we'll charge up everything we need to blast right here, and we'll send the signal down. So what I tried to do here is actually have the engaging elytra sound get caught here and then actually relay that up. I gotta tell you, I could not get this to work very consistently or very fast. This kind of drove me crazy trying to get this to work. There's also the problem that I didn't want a lot of other sounds to interfere, which meant that there was, wool everywhere. I didn't really love this version of it. I still thought it was pretty cool, so I decided I would try to get this to work in the balloon with a slight variation. And instead of having the actual sounds being sent up, we decided to go with leaf stone. So I came up with the design for the balloon. I used Axiom to actually use the shape, hollow it out, paint, stripes. Basically, I thought, the hot air balloon would be the best design because I could hide all the redstone. I could have a cool platform for people to actually land on. But then I needed something minimal to send signals up and down. And what I landed on was wallstone. Basically, if I needed to trigger a teleportation to the stasis chamber, that signal would get sent downward if they were looking straight up. And when they were ready to launch, well, the player would actually just bounce over this wool chamber. So only the sounds of flying could be heard right here. And then that signal gets sent upwards via a double piston extender that actually pushes a log up so it can touch this and leave this area fully clean. And then when this log touches, it then sends the signal upwards even more, all the way up to trigger the launch, as well as here through a delay system, which delays it just enough so that these droppers pull back the powdered snow right before launch. So this goes up, the system shoots the wind charges down, you get blasted off, and then it would hopefully recharge. So the recharge system works just as it did before. Basically, right after you launch, it will actually recollect items and then turn the teleportation system on. In fact, by default, the teleportation system should just stay active. So let me turn that back on. Now, this was a little crazy because I wanted players to be down here and be able to use their arrows from down here. So you actually shoot up at this gold block here, and then your arrow gets pushed via these pistons and gets put right where it's supposed to be for this squibble module of teleportation. Now, the problem I was having, and I could probably resolve this just by not having the water here, is that the water was inconsistently timed with the piston pushing the arrow up, so I wasn't always getting the arrow to collide with the wind charge. But if the wind charge is just like statically positioned, I think that would be better. So this could work in the future, potentially, if you made this system separate, or if you just remove the water here and had the wind charges just enough, just close enough to the edge that the arrow could clip it. I just couldn't get it to work consistently enough. So I also found that the arrows would disappear because they would despawn in the 1 minute that it would take to recharge the system, or if you log out. Yeah, like right now, I don't know what happened to the arrow. Did I collide with it? Anyway, I just found it to be a bit annoying. Here, let's actually launch these. Boom. As you can see, they go down to the launch platform. And when it's charging, I actually got a double charger to work. See, this module is actually working to send its wind charges here. And so is this one. And through some sort of luck and just brute force, attempts of trying every single redstone timing, I was able to get this one piston to catch both. I don't recommend this. It was nuts. But you know what? I'm a glutton for punishment, and I don't think I learned. So we're gonna go on to the next one. Let's turn this off. Yeah, still charging. We can get it to finish charging by taking those out. It'll turn back into teleportation mode here, and I'll just turn the whole system off. Let's go to the next one. Now, this one, I did a few things. So as you can see here, I moved this whole counter system up to get out of the way because I added 4 modules of this Hectorus breeze charge generator. Now, I removed the squibble teleporter. I just didn't find it to be consistent enough. I was very worried that it would be too finicky to actually be used by me, let alone other people. So I do teleportation now through another stasis chamber. So let's go down here to the nether portal. Quickly just show you. So ignore this. This is a player online detector. If you ever cared, you just fill this up with stuff, put an item in here, and the comparator will read out if your player's online, if this is your cat. Anyway, ignore that one. So basically this, you get a fishing rod and an ender pearl. You take your fishing rod in your offhand and you hit that, which is going to stay on the pressure plate. And importantly, this pressure plate is in the next chunk over, just barely. And so that will be a lazy chunk because this ender pearl will load just this chunk. And let's see, if I line myself up in the corner here, I should get one of the 2 sticky block columns to keep this just bouncing forever. Using FreeCam, you can see there's some string. The string triggers this door to switch, and then it pulses the sticky piston, and the sticky piston pushes the slime up, bouncing the whole thing. Okay, so then when I come back through here, when I want to teleport back, I just right click and I can come right back. But this system had a fatal flaw. All of these modules, if I turn this on, you're going to see it is just a total nightmare of timing. And it was not consistent. If I fixed the timing and got it just right and reset the game and came back in, it wouldn't work. Let me show you. Okay, so each one of these modules is now firing its wind charges, and these pistons should be catching them, but they're not. They were like the last time I was here, but now they're not. Like, I think there's just too much redstone going on here, and the update order of everything gets messed up. It was a nightmare. I spent probably a week trying to get this to work, and I just couldn't get it to work. And there's just so many things that are all interdependent. Like, there are wind charges passing a piston that it's not supposed to touch so that it can get here, but then this one's supposed to push it and keep it static so that this piston eventually will push it over the slime block. Anyway, this one caused me to lose a lot of hair. Not a fan. Not a fan of this one. So, you know what? I actually kind of threw this away and did something totally different. All right. Now, before we go to the final creative design, I'm going to show you how I took the original RaiseWorks concepts I was doing down here and made that into basically the final redstone. So I had the idea that it would probably just be a good idea to go back to the RaiseWorks one because I could consistently get the breeze charges to come out in the right spot and not get a lot of loss. So I designed this where each breeze is looking down a hallway, or like has one vantage to see the iron golems, which are here. And these shelves are now perfect because they prevent this guy from looking at this one. In fact, this one can only see down this corridor to that iron golem. Let's turn it on. So that just lifts up the blocks, allowing visibility down these corridors. And he can see, let's do this, hitboxes. And you can see the eye line is just good enough for this breeze to see this guy. But this guy, he can't actually see that iron golem. And so what's happening is we're using the conveyor belts again. There is finally a return of the conveyor belts, and this system is reliable. I could consistently get it to work with no loss. None of these breeze wind charges are actually exploding prematurely, and then they all get centered over this slime block. And it's a quadruple breeze launcher. All right, let's turn this off. Again, there is the concern that if this runs for too long, you could get hundreds and hundreds or even thousands of these breeze wind charges, and they will cause your frames to go down to 0. It's happened to me a few times, and you don't want it. You really don't. Let's launch these. See you later. Now that you see the redstone, let's go to the final version of the balloon in here. All right, here we have it in the balloon. And as you can see, we have the same system we had down below, but up here in the balloon, connected to the counting system, and it's all working. Now, the actual system to send pulses down, it's vestigial. We don't need it anymore. But I'm kind of leaving it here because maybe I might add it back in the future, or something similar. The leaf stone we are still using to trigger the launch, and we can consistently get all of these to push their breeze charges right over this one block to launch them down where the player goes. One thing I wish I could do is make this transparent so when you're in here, you could see which direction you were going to go. But the best I can offer is just, look before you go in. And then there's a little like half second or so before the launch where you can adjust your angle a little bit. All right. You've seen everything there is to see in creative. Let's go to GrumbleCraft. All right. Oh, you know what? I started here at my teleportation spot, which is one thing that you might know if you build one of these in your world. You will teleport back here when you log back in. So anyway, this is how I built it to work here, and it's a little different. If I look at the chunk borders, oh, I forgot to mention this. So you go here. I like the honey behind because it lets the fishing rod just slide down. Okay, then, oops, offhand, boop. And come here, throw it down in the corner. Sweet. All right. And even though it's kind of farther away, the fishing rod won't snap. I can make it all the way back. All right. And I actually was able to fit the nether portal underneath. So it doesn't look ugly. Sweet. And just leave that open. So now I come here. This thing is always ready to go. And how did I do that? Well, I'm going to show you what it currently looks like. So this system has a bit more smarts. And a lot of that comes down to I wanted the system to auto reset every single time. And the only way you can do that with you being blasted thousands of blocks away is with the chunk loader. And I'm not a fan of having chunk loaders constantly going. So what I did is I decided to put the chunk loader in with not ender pearls because they did not fully load the thing. If you look here, the main chunk with the redstone, it'll work, but it's going to miss this block and it's going to miss this block and it won't turn off basically some of the most important stuff, which are the blocks that prevent the system from accumulating charges. If this piston does not get turned off, then this thing just accumulates so many wind charges. Okay, so what I did is I put in a traditional chunk loader. I tried to put it in up here, but if you look at my Y level, up in the top right, I'm at 264. And in the nether, that's high enough that no matter what I do, it was just always going to link up with my nether roof portal, which is how people get here if they don't, have, some sort of fancy version of the Craft Heroes teleportation device. And I guess I could have just made people use this and come here. Anyway, that wasn't going to work. So even if I had this way up here and had my chunk loader up here, which is almost at build height, still connects here, I couldn't go up high enough. They were always going to link up, so no good. What did I do? Well, I just put the chunk loader down here. Now you might say, that's ridiculous. Well, kind of, except this wasn't even far enough down. I actually had to put it all the way underground this far so that we wouldn't be linking up incorrectly because we're stacked right on top of the same X and Z value as the other portal. It just wasn't going to work unless I got it really far away. And then the only way to get a signal down here wirelessly is daylight detectors. So if you look straight up, there's glass and daylight. And there is glass and daylight straight up here. So how does that work? Well, I'm so glad you asked because I spent a long time making this too. With a lot of help again from Ray's who had a video on this, at least that system down there. I was able to come up with the chunk loader enabled system. So you come up here, you want to turn the chunk loader on? Well, it's triggered every single time we turn the system on. And we turn the system on, well, by turning this redstone line off, which gets observed and sends the system down. So this falling edge detector will pulse this copper bulb, changing the state here, and it will extend this block over. Let's see, you can tell because if I look straight down, the comparator's main lights are off. It's in subtract mode, while the little torch is on, but the two are off. And then it's inverted with a repeater so that small changes that are maybe just from like sunrise, sunset, don't inadvertently turn the system on. So we're going to do this. And as you can see, yep, the two main torches are on and the redstone line is off. And that has turned our chunk loader on. So cool. Oh yeah, I can't switch game modes, duh. But I will just come down here really quick and free cam and show you that I turned the chunk loader on remotely. So cool. Yeah, so this is actually being blocked partially. So this inverted daylight detector in night mode actually reads a higher value because there's a block blocking full skylight. And down here, this chunk loader should be on. Yep. As you can see, we've unlocked this dispenser, so it's able to dispense the minecarts, furnace minecarts in this chunk loader system. And on the other side of this are just normal nether with fire on both sides that is breaking the furnace minecarts, and in item form it can come right back and it gets collected. Oh, obviously the items then get collected by this hopper minecart that's clipped into the obsidian, and it's returned via the hopper into the dispenser. So basically this gets turned off. It'll get triggered one more time when the resetting is done. So when the resetting is done, this falling edge detector, another one, basically pulses, boop, right over here and turns it off. Anyway, this thing is so fun. I just love this thing so much. I basically have not gone back to my base. I just live here. I'm just constantly blasting around all the time. I will also say, for those of you that are a little nefarious, if you put enough wind charges in this thing, like a couple stacks of items, which would probably make like 150 to 200 wind charges that'll hit you, you can load enough chunks quickly enough that it'll break the server. And if you take your items out of your inventory and right before you go and you put them in a chest, what happens is you can duplicate your items. I'll show you the clip right now. Let's get double chest. All right.
I'm shocked by how high I end up going. I think that's why I went so far. Again, my level was like 2,000.
Yeah, I think the ender pearl hits behind you and a little bit below you. So you end up going up quite a bit. All right, so let's see. Right, I'm aimed right at it. Let's see, except now just gotta find my way down. Okay. Okay. Engaging elytra. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What? I feel like I went right through it.
I think you went past it.
Uh-huh. I'm at 13,000 and 10,000.
Oh, yep.
15,000.
Right past it.
Oh, this is insane.
It really is. Oh yeah, server lagging.
Yeah, it's gonna be lagging for a while. My screen still has like the freezy particles. It's like
disconnected.
What? Disconnected?
Yeah.
You disconnected?
From the server. I disconnected, yep.
Oh, I'm still in the server, but it's probably gonna kick me in a second because I went seriously far. Oh my
I think
God.
it's because I was moving while it was
going. Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, no chunks underneath me have started to render yet. Oh, God, Vanya.
Yeah.
I didn't set an ender pearl.
But you removed all your things.
No.
I did. But I don't
still.
But I don't have an ender chest.
I guess those wings are dead.
Those wings are gone. We really need to reset in chunks.
The server's down. It's totally stopped. I have to manually turn it back on.
So funny.
I killed the server.
Robert.
What?
How could you do this?
I'm surprised the server doesn't automatically restart.
Wait, it doesn't? Yeah,
No.
wait, hold on.
I'm actually surprised too.
No, it was just stopped.
Huh.
It was I'm looking at the console, it was just off. It basically was like, I need a breather. I need a minute.
Yeah, I need a minute. I'm currently eating cocktail flavored jelly beans, and it's a very weird experience.
Oh.
They have the flavor of alcohol, and they're very fun.
Okay. So weird. I just joined back in the game. I'm back on the balloon with everything in my inventory. I went back in time.
Robot said parallel universe.
See? I'm
You
right
saw
here.
Diverging paths.
I'm right here.
Hi!
Look, I have gold in my inventory. Why would I take this with me?
Just in case.
Okay.
That's really funny.
Okay, everything duplicated.
What?
Look in this chest. That's all my stuff, including those blocks of
Robot
gold.
made a duper.
It duped.
Oh my god! What do we do with that information? Now I'm sad I stopped my recording.
I'm recording, but yeah.
Good.
I mean, I feel bad about this stuff, so yeah, I don't know.
You got a flint and steel? Yep.
Yeah.
I'm glad we don't have fire tick on.
Yeah, if we had fire tick on, that would be bad. All right. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. I love this thing. What do you think? Is it better than Ethos? I think so. But then again, like, it was overkill, and it took me forever, and it's not perfect. Ethos is certainly easier to use in terms of, like, you just go in, so long as you can supply your own wind charges, it's great. But hey, there's just something fantastic about being out here, and it's just recharging itself. And then when I'm done exploring or loading chunks to, keep in my voxy, I can just return whenever I want. Oops, that's not what I want. I wanted the fishing rod. See, and I'm back. I can do it again. And then I walk back in here. System's been going for a little bit. Been collecting them. I don't know how many are up there, but I think I've increased the number. Should be almost ready to go again. Ding ding. Oh, I forgot to show you. I had a little system to basically do ding ding and then have the lights turn on. Let's do another launch. Maybe we can see what people are up to. Oh wait, Wisp is not online. Essential said he's online. He must be in creative mode. Also, I have a beacon that gives me resistance. So even though I'm in here for 5 seconds, I'm not taking any damage from the powdered snow, which is pretty cool. I've also stopped crashing the server. I just limited it to a stack of items to charge the system. Oh, there's Wisp. And with the stack of items, you're not going to break the server. Also, we've loaded so many chunks now that these are effectively preloaded and they don't cause as much computational work for the server. I should probably fill in the gaps here with my Foxy. All right, let's go back. Oh, I still had flying momentum. That's a thing. That is a thing you have to be careful of. I don't know if anyone even looks at this thing. At the status. At the hot air balloon. It's my alarm. Basically, if anyone comes to me via the nether, I'll get teleported there. What the? Oh my god. Hello.
Hi, Robor.
My alarm system brought me here. Do you know what I mean?
The Ender Pearl stasis thing?
Yeah. I recommend...
Just to align myself?
Fishing rod first. Put a fishing rod in your offhand from the barrel.
Buddy.
Okay, yeah. Also, push yourself up against the anvil and then throw it in the corner of the honey walls. Yeah. If you throw it in the corner, there's a little added chance that it'll get stuck. It's like 95% for me now that I get it to work. It was pretty inconsistent before. Ah! What the hell? Excuse me. 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 Excuse me.
Oh my god. Wait, did you even have coins on you?
No.
Activate my own.
Oh, that's my bad. You can't kill me.
And you'll just have to come back for my next episode to see what happens. See ya.